Welcome back to another episode of Private Parts with me, Liv Bentley. This is the podcast where nothing is off limits. Make sure you subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, also where you can watch every glorious episode, warts and all. Head over to @PrivatePartsPod. Warts and all is a niche thing to say. Anyway, today I have a very special guest joining me on the sofa. It's the founder of Killing Kittens, an all-round female entrepreneur, Emma Sayle. I am buzzing about this because can I just say Killing Kittens is something I constantly hear about, so I have a multitude of questions. But can we just start from the very beginning, how you started, how it all came around?
Do you know, it kind of started when I was tiny in if boys can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
And that kind of fueled a fire that was just there, burning my childhood. Like, you know, the rage of, if someone said you can't do it, I'm like, watch me.
Yeah.
And, boys do that, I'll be like, well, watch me do it. And girls are going to do it too. And sort of went into the dating and the hormones kicked in and, you know, like late teens and early 20s. And then it was like, well, hang on a minute, why can boys sleep around and do what they want sexually, and we're filled with all this shame and judgment, and, you know, God forbid that we kiss a stranger on a night out. And like, I remember at university, it's so you could do everything but.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could do everything but actual having sex. And then you were fine, and then you were a good girl. You know, it's crazy the amount of blowjobs that were given because you couldn't have actual sex.
Which, can I be honest with you, I borderline think a blowjob's worse than sex. Like,
when you look at it now, yes,
yeah,
it is.
like that's way more personal.
Yeah, but it was that whole, you know, you can't add actual penetrative sex, the shame, and, you know, you're a slut, and, you know, the judgment on that. So, early 20s, I just sort of was seeing that and actually quite insecure myself and didn't want to be naked in bright light. But was out and about with quite a sort of well-known posse in London who, these women were sort of 10 years older than me, and they were in the media for like swinging and swapping and sleeping with other women and just not caring. They were amazing. And we were all at a wedding in Ibiza, and someone who hadn't been to the wedding phoned in and said, are you lot just sat around killing kittens at the moment? This is it. And we had this whole conversation that, you know, it's cyber slang for every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten. So killing kittens is like just you know, wanking. And I was like, that's it. I love the word concept. Killing kittens. In my head it was KK, and I just went, right, okay, I want to create a world I wished I lived in.
Yeah.
That was the opposite of the norm, where women could explore their sexuality online and offline, and ask questions and not be judged and be the ones with the power and in control. So started as like the small mass parties.
No, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I 100% agree though. But do you think people's views on female sort of sex and masturbation has changed over the years, or do you think it is still very much seen in the same way?
I think it has changed a lot. If I look at people coming to our events, and we get lots of single women coming, and they'll tell their friends about it. And
so the premise,
so people are more open about it than they used to be. It was very, you wouldn't talk to your best friends about masturbating. That was part of the problem. And when we launched 2005, that was when Sex and the City came out.
Yeah.
I remember they started talking about sex toys and the rabbit,
Samantha.
and suddenly it was like, oh, hang on a minute, you can talk about.
Without
we should be
shame.
talking about it and not having shame. And if you can't talk to your best mates, then there's a problem.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And so when did you actually start throwing the events? In 2005?
2005.
And so what is the premise of the event, or how did you envisage it when you first started?
So when I first started it, and I'd been doing PR, and one of my clients was the Erotica show, and they brought me on because they wanted to make that more female friendly.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really brightly lit. All these, like trade show type thing. And it was really brightly lit light. And I was like, and, the porn was brightly lit light. And I was like, actually, our biggest sex organ as women is our brain. And it's the touch, the feel, the smell, the ambience, it's everything. But the actual act of sex will turn us on. So to me, it was sort of, that was the key bit. And it still is getting all those bits right. So, we started, with the parties, it was sort of set the scene and have all that set up, and have the prayer rooms, so if people want to have sex, they can have sex. But it was very much, we have strict rules that only women can buy the tickets, women can make, only women can make the first move, and that sort of, the consent and boundaries and
So
everything.
after the first one happened, was it like a huge success and people were just like, I'm obsessed with this?
Yeah, it was. Do you know? I think we only had about 45 people. That's the thing. So the first party was small.
Yeah.
But it was sort of, we doubled it sort of the next one. But what I realized is sort of in month one, it got quite a lot of media attention. And it was good media attention. And it was these big female journalists that, having come from PR, like they were the editors. They were the ones that terrified me that, you were trying to get hold of a younger journalist, you'd never get hold of the editors. And suddenly you had the editors incoming phone calls wanting to write about it. So it was kind of, actually, there's something here and it's needed. And you look at what society, it was the same kind of year that Ann Summers hit the high street and Lalo sex toys went into Selfridges. So it was sort of this, they called it the female sexual revolution.
Yeah, because Lilo's founded by women, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting. But what did it get negative press?
Do you know what? It's always had that sort of shock and awe. It hasn't had, touch wood, negative. It's like you get the big headlines. But when you read the articles, they've never been bad. But I mean, they're bad if you read it and think it's disgusting. Then I read them all and think, does the business come up? Well, are we going to get new members? And, I always say, we've always been Ron Seal. It's always, we've always done exactly what it says.
Yeah.
There's no surprises. It's not like a journalist can go, hey, gotcha. They're having sex. I'm like, yes, we've told you we are.
Because
it's sort of,
Because it's not, I mean, it's obviously it's legal because it's not like a brothel kind of thing because no one's actually paying for it. But how does, how do you sort of not vet the people, but so women can sign up and can they bring men?
Yeah, so
That's
you can
how it
buy.
works.
Yeah, you can buy a couple's ticket or a singles ticket.
Okay.
So you get the way it works now because we've got the whole big online platform. Now you can have couple memberships on there, but within that there's a male membership and a female membership.
Yeah.
So you know who you're chatting to online, whether it's male or female, and only the female one can buy the actual ticket.
And how does one keep like anonymity? I can never say that word, but is there like a sort of, or is it just a known thing that people don't discuss who they see there or what they see?
Yeah, you don't discuss, and also we have no phones, so strict no phones. So they're
I
big.
love a joint that has no phones.
It's so old school. People talk to each other and
But it's
look each other
actually
in the
so
eyes.
much better. And also they're not the fear of someone. I mean, it would be very odd to go to a party and stop filming people having sex. I think that actually is illegal. But no, I really rate that. And so what does the sort of party consist of? Like, what time does it start? What time does it finish? What goes on?
We do loads of sort of different ones, but mainly they'd normally start about 8. We normally have like champagne or cocktail reception. Often in the bigger ones, like the more mansion house party ones, we'll have like oyster caviar, like shaka
Aphrodisiac.
going around. Yeah. And then we always have we have performers. So they lots of sort of pop-up performances. They go through the reception, or there's little pop-up stages.
Yeah.
And often we'll have the bigger stages where there's bigger shows that go on. So it kind of starts like, I always start, say it sort of starts like a really smart kind of house party and everyone's masked and either black tie or cocktail dress. And then suddenly, the wheels fall off and you're like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
And you kind of, sort of wander upstairs or around to the side. And then that's where you see Dante's Inferno all over the bed of limbs. So, yeah.
And do you find it's sort of a mixed bag of people who go for different sort of things? Like, are there people who are going to explore different sexual things, or other people just going to sort of socialise in a safe space?
It's a complete mix. You get, because right from day one, I've always said that, there's no such thing as a completely straight woman. It's like we're bi-curious or bisexual. It's just science. That's where we are on the spectrum. And so a big part of it, and from day one, was letting women explore that side.
Yeah.
So we do get a lot, we get a lot of single women coming or in groups of women, and that they're curious about what it's like to be with another woman. We get, and often even in couples, what we get is sort of, couples that might have been together 10 years, 20 years, and actually the woman saying, actually, I've always wanted to sleep with women.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that side of it. There's also, you get the sort of the hardcore couples that this is what they do every weekend.
Yeah.
And that's, they're in the lifestyle, and that's part of the relationship. You get ones who are using it like a cool date night. So they're like, right, let's just go and see, keep our clothes on, and, just go out together as kind of a cool date night. So you have, completely different reasons. Others that stay together as a couple.
Yeah.
So again, they're coming out to them, but they're not going to get involved with anyone else. And then the voyeuristic sort of ones, they either like watching or they like performing. So it's complete. And you know, when I go, I don't go to many. I go to sort of the bigger ones, but I go with a group of friends as a night out.
Yeah.
And none of us get involved. It's a fun night out because we have DJs as well, and so some people do come just to party, and some women come just to sort of dance in their lingerie on the dance floor, and no one's going to jump them, and they say that's really empowering.
Yeah, because I think that was the other thing I was going to ask, is that I wonder if a lot of women go to feel more empowered, because I think sex for women is a lot more complicated than it is for men. And I don't know why. I'm probably biased because I'm a woman, but you see, I don't know, it is because
of our brain, because that's our biggest sex organ. So as you know, there's so much going on in our brain, and you know,
that has to be aligned with down there for it to work.
And you've got to flick that switch of like out of, I always say, like out of, like for me, like crazy mum mode and housekeeping, and like, you know, just you know, I can't suddenly become some siren hot wife in the bedroom, like after coming up the stairs and shouting at the kids to go to bed. You know, it's sort of, the brain needs switching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how, so since starting it, how has it sort of developed or progressed? Or is it just you throwing more and more parties? Do you think it's much more have you noticed a higher demand for it sort of in the recent years?
After COVID, the demand went up massively. And what we did was, so we stopped doing smaller parties and go into sort of 500-600 people, but much more experience. So the experience, you just go and have an amazing experience with all the the performances and the DJs and that kind of side. And like the smaller party market is quite saturated now. There's a lot of people doing small parties. So we in 2018 started building a massive sort of tech platform. So half our business is the tech side.
Okay.
So it's kind of, we've gone into it's now the KK group with different, you've got the whole online, it's a WhatsApp, which is their online community and chat groups and whole kind of ticketing platform that's been built, and other people's events on there as well. So it's a big sort of open-minded community platform. And then we've launched cruises. So we've got our first cruise in June.
A Killing Kittens cruise?
Yeah, I've never been on a cruise. It's terrifying.
It's like a, not a booze cruise, but a bang cruise kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's jokes. I think that's quite clever. Because I was thinking, like, just not spice things up, but there's so many different, like, not dating apps, and I don't know how many people would go or have met their sort of like ultimately end up being their partner at something like that. But you're probably more aligned with someone that you meet if you're into certain things, and you meet someone at a party like that, then you kind of know from the beginning that you're on the same kind of page
online,
with it.
you know, I've got some friends who've met their now husbands on the online side of our setup, even though they never went to parties.
Yeah.
Because they sort of went on there, because it's not expectations, but it's like often on dating apps, you're going on and you've got that rose-tinted spectacles of, I'm finding my husband.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of, whereas, you know, if you're going on a site where it's sort of all these different, we have loads of online workshops on there, and they've sort of ended up going, you know, having a Friday night shag buddy, and it was like so not my type, and a year later they're like, you know,
together,
getting married. And it's sort of, I think when you go into a relationship with no expectations or something like that, then you end up with people that you probably would never have, you know, gone for if you sort of tick the boxes on a dating app of like, I need this, this, and this. Because often what you need is what you don't need.
Yeah, no, it's true. Is there like a specific age range or like popularity within certain ages that can't?
We're probably, I mean, our sweet spot's probably 30 to 55, really.
Yeah.
I think our average age of girls is sort of mid-30s and men late 30s. So that's sort of, so we're kind of, the cruises and retreats. And we just launched KK Club, which is kind of more of a members club, so you can use points to. We've got a box at the O2, so you can have points to go and see gigs there,
or it's massive,
or like curated dinners and sporting events. So it's sort of, to us, it's like a whole world, and the community side is the massive part. And people often say, it's like, oh, what industry do the members work in? And I've always said they're across everything. They've got, but they're hedonists. It's sort of, they're the ones that will be jumping out of airplanes and wanting to do some crazy race, you know, across the desert, or, you know, try new food and wine and travel. And, you know, it's that kind of, you've got one life and you've got to go and try it all. And, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs are members, and because you've got that kind of, right, we've got one life, let's just go and try everything. Yeah.
No, it is interesting. I've never been to one of your parties, but I've always been. I've always been fascinated. We both have. Well, when I get Bella on in a sec, but only because I just thought there is something interesting about it. And it
Yeah.
sounds sort of different.
It is interesting. Like it's been 20 years and I never get bored because people fascinate me.
Yeah.
And I just watching dynamics and also hearing people's stories and hearing, how,
Why they want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think people's sort of sexual niches over the years have got slightly different? As in, do you think people now not experiment with different things, but you hear of like different stories of what people are into, and like I'm trying to work out if it's always been that way or because now it's slightly more spoken about that people like certain things.
I think a lot of it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's just it's more spoken about, and it's more, there are names for everything now. We have labels for everything.
Oh, I know.
So I think that, and I think if you combine it with women being much more sexy, free and opinionated, and it's not just sort of, what the man wants. It's like women going, well, hang on a minute, what do we want? And we want to try this. And I think you combine that.
Did you ever notice like that? Was there any sort of stigma / negative stuff from men when you started getting into all of this? Or backlash? Yeah.
And there still is. And I always say, whenever anyone says, do you have problems with people? I always say it's a man. It's like an alpha male who they live in their world. We live in their world. The rest of the world is the world they built for them on their terms and their rules. And the minute they feel threatened, then,
do you think that's changed at all, or we're still in the same place with
we're
them?
kind of still in this, we're in the same place, but we're fighting it. You know what I mean? A lot more, but you see it. I see it every day. You see it on LinkedIn or, someone having issues, but those guys get knocked down now. They don't get away. You see it, you look in the media, like they can't get away with what,
And I think women have got more balls coming out with certain things. I think for a long time it was almost easier to say nothing, whereas now actually...
Now we call it.
Yeah, which is so good. Has anything, not bad ever happened, but has anything ever happened at one of the parties that you suddenly questioned what you were doing, or if, I don't know, has anything like that? Or was it... No,
I mean, touch wood, I said the only, if we've had an issue, occasionally it's been a drunk man. So, but no, I mean, you get the odd, you do get the odd arguments in couples because often the reality isn't what, they think in their heads, or they say let's go and do this, and then it happens, and suddenly the insecurities come out. And so I always say to people, just, maybe the first time come and just see, but you have to have really strong communication and rules in place. And so, that's the only time we've kind of seen issues. But we have what we call community kittens. So, got women that will sort of walk around and are there. They've got like the red lit sort of armbands on, and they're all like mentally health trained. So if there are issues, or sometimes a girl will get too drunk, and so she needs looking after. But
so it is all very safe and well done. How do you balance doing all of that and also being a mother and running a multitude of companies?
Do you know what villages? I say you need villages.
Yeah.
They say you need a village to like raise kids, but you need a village in every area of your life, and not to be a control freak. And so that's the thing. You can't have it all. You can only have it all by allowing other people in all those areas to actually.
Yeah.
So I got a business partner on board in 2017, 2018, and he's amazing and very hands on. And so I've got an amazing work team, and then a whole village at home for kids. I'm like, anyone can have them. Sometimes I have to go, crap, it's 9 o'clock, and I said I'd pick them up at 7. And then friends as well. You have a tribe, a village around you, your support crew, and that's the only way. You the only way you can have it all is to compromise in all areas.
Yeah. Because I know I'm like, hats off to you, hats off to Bella, who have kids and managed to maintain one of these businesses. Like, I think it is amazing. If someone wanted to go to Killing Kittens, what would the sort of top 5 requirements / red flags, what would they be?
So everyone has to be a member. So you have to sign up online, and we verify everyone who is signing up. So it's not kind of, look, really hot people, and it's that people are real life human beings. They are, they are who they say they're being in their photos, and their reasons for joining.
Does one have to give a reason as
to
why
you give a kind of, this is what it, sort of who you are and what it means. And so we have that as the kind of, that's our vetting side of it. And so it's got nothing to do with photos and what people look like. It's just sort of, are they So they come across as a decent human being.
And their intentions
basically.
with it. And since doing it, do you think, have you learned anything about yourself, or has anything changed in you since starting the business?
I've realised I'm really boring in the bedroom. No, I am quite. No, do you know what? I think because you see so much and you see it all, and you know, something when you've got 600 people sometimes, and it makes me really appreciate what I've got. It makes you really aware of, you know, those little nuances and things that a lot of people take for granted. So the simple things in life. Yeah.
Because also I think because of doing JOMO, so many people think I'm like some sex guru. I'm actually a massive prude, I think. And I'm all mouth and no trousers, which is interesting because obviously because and some people tell me stories. I go, please don't tell me this. Like it sort of shocks me. But no, because I've got a lot of friends who talk about certain things they want to do, and actually to be able to do certain things, you're better off going to something like Killing Kittens where it is safe rather than getting confused with someone who doesn't really know.
Or going on a date where, you know, on Tinder and with someone that is like into like, you know, something.
So on the topic of women in females in the sexual industry business, we've got my glorious business partner, Bella Campbell, who's also going to be joining us. She's back. 3 girls who work in the sex industry. No, because what I was going to suddenly ask you was, if someone was going into Killing Kittens, do you think, and you're in a relationship, is it better that you're in a secure, healthy relationship to be able to do something like that? Or, because you get a lot of people who probably maybe aren't in, I don't know how to word it in the right way, in a relationship where they think they need something more, but actually as a couple might not be as secure as they think they are.
Or content, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the secure couples
that do the best.
Yeah, so I'd say you have to be secure in your relationship, but then if it's like a full-on relationship, so there's love involved, then you have to be really secure. If it's a fuck buddy, you know, then that's that again. But again, it's having those boundaries and communication of what you're looking for, why we're doing it, and you know the rules in place, because like, you know, a lot of couples can play, but there's no penetrative sex with anyone else. So that's or there's the girl plays, but you know, a guy doesn't come in, and so that's the thing. People, they have different rules, but 100% is you've got to be a secure couple.
Why do you think it is that some of the secure couples want to do it?
Because it's exploring your sex lives together. So you're doing it in the same way you bring, you know, you have sex toys in your relationship. It's that you're exploring together and having experience together, and there's no emotional attachment to it. So it's like, instead of using a sex toy, you're using another human being. It kind of, so there isn't that thought process that, oh, he's looking at another, you know, he's looking at a woman, he's looking, you know, he's feeling her boobs, there's no emotion to it. It's just, you're just having sex.
So apart from being secure with each other, it actually sounds like you need to be quite secure within yourself.
You've definitely got to be a secure person, which is tricky when us women are like, every day's different.
But and do you think you get a lot of people who are sort of because it's I mean, I can't relate because my relationships don't last longer than 2 minutes, but I suppose when people get into like long-term relationships, things tend to not dry up, but you lose the sort of like the spark and and do you find a lot of people come to the parties to sort of reignite or that sort of original spark they may have had, even if they just were together the whole night?
I think that's you get that, you reignite it, or it's sort of, a lot of couples come in a case of, you know, they've had the kids and then suddenly you know, rather than just coexisting, you know, and running a household, it's sort of looking at each other and go, well, hang on, what about us? And coming and doing something like, you know, going on an exciting date together, because I always say you've got to keep dating each other.
Well, this is
with or without the parties.
So as you two are both mothers, how do you keep that aspect of your lives, your sex lives, alive?
Like, I mean, you know, it's not that alive sometimes, but you know, but we try. We're aware that, you know, about
you have to make time.
It is hard because it's knackering if you're both working, and like, you know, my kids are like 9, well, they're 11, 9 and 7, and it's full on.
Yeah,
and
that's a lot.
you know, it is really full on, and you get to the end of every day and we're like, yes, I've completed another day and I'm alive and no one.
No, I just want to
now I've got to have sex.
Yeah, exactly. Now I need to reach exactly. So you have to be aware and you have to make an effort.
Yeah.
And that's just going out to the just little date nights, going out to the pub, nothing.
Which is foreplay in
fancy.
itself,
Exactly.
right?
But who
Yeah.
initiates those date nights? You guys?
Oh, me.
Or your husbands?
100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, I learned a long time ago that we would never go out anywhere if I didn't organise it.
I have to book it. I have to make sure that he's free. I have to remind him that evening that we are going out. He's already plonked on the sofa thinking, I'm done. Thanks so much.
He's a sportsman as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think there's something to do with sportsman.
Do you think? If your husbands came to you and suggested sort of involving someone else in your sort of sexual lives, what would your responses be?
I wouldn't, because I mean, we've always said, it's like I've always said I'm like bisexual and I like girls, and but I'm with a man now.
Yeah.
I always say to him, if we get divorced, it'll be a woman is the next one for sure. And it's sort of, so we've always said that if and when it came up, we'd never, I would never shit on my own doorstep, but it's sort of, we know that I actually wouldn't have a problem him being with another woman.
Really?
With it, if we were to, together,
Yeah.
not like on a random night out with his
Yeah,
mates,
yeah.
but in that scenario, because I am secure and I know, I've done, I've seen enough in the last 20 years and understand that it's not emotional and it. And
But do you
that's
think
it.
with a woman it would be, if you were to go with them, it would be off the back of more of an emotional thing than a sexual attraction? Or both?
What do you mean, as in?
As in, like, if you were to, how you feel about women, only because
It'd be a curiosity.
I think
Yeah.
it might be a sexual attraction. I think a lot of people in relationships, and I think, again, it comes down to that kind of bisexuality a lot in women, is you're not getting that emotional need and what you want on that. And women put so much expectation on men to be the be all and
So
end
true.
all.
but because their brains are so different to
and
ours.
it's sort of, I don't. I have friends for this. I have different friends for that. I don't expect James to tick every
Everything.
single
Can't,
box,
yeah, they can't.
and therefore I don't sit there getting disappointed the whole time because I'm not. But I think so many women put everything into their relationship and stop going out with their friends, stop doing stuff
And
for
that's when the
themselves,
frustration.
and they start resenting the guy and getting frustrated, and you just think, but he would never tick that box.
Yeah.
You put them on a pedestal and you're expecting so much from them.
They can't be everything.
No.
It's literally what Esther Perel says,
Yeah. And when you see that and go, this is what they are,
Yeah.
and then you just,
No, now that you said that actually makes so much more sense because it is true. And you literally cannot expect everything from one person. I have to see, and guys, they are very different to women. And actually sexually as well. I think women, not more complicated sexually, but I think there's so much more to it than there is for men. Which is why actually doing Killing Kittens, and it's the woman being invited. Makes
Again,
so
it's
much
like
more
the
sense.
simplicity, isn't it?
Yeah,
What
we are
about
very complicated creatures.
Yeah.
We are, aren't we? And fucking hormonal, my God.
I was
let me
going to
tell you.
say, what about at the school gates, like other mums? Like, how do they,
My
how...
Church of England primary school. Little village school. Well, I'm actually the chair of the PTA.
Are you?
I am.
But do you get obviously, like when you talk, and we find this the same, like either some women and men, they're like fascinated by it and they're like super excited and they're all for it. But then you get this, there is obviously, and everyone's different, the people that are quite like snooty, prudy, and like actually like, I can't believe you do that.
Do you know what I say about them? Those ones, I'm very quick to think they're not happy and they just need a good shag.
And they're the ones that need it the
I
most.
actually have to agree. I think it is the ones that are so standoffish about it. When
The ones who are the most anti often are the ones who actually are up to stuff behind closed doors, and the ones that aren't happy. And that's not just in this world. It's I always find the unhappy they project their unhappiness onto happy people. If you look like you're happy and
it's all,
successful, and they'll look you up and down, they will hate you instantly. You must get it.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. It's
you
almost
walk into
jealousy,
rooms
isn't it?
and you
Yeah.
can see some women will just go. And you just go, they hate me. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. It's always like they used to say, when you were at school and you were young, it'd always be the quiet ones or the convent girls that were the naughtiest.
The dark horses.
Yeah, the dark horses.
I said this to Bella earlier, and I think, not that I find it frustrating, but I think because our goal is almost similar. With Jomo, what we're trying to do is put sex back into a positive light, just because I think there is even when we started JOMO, people would say things like, oh, people were sort of shocked by it, and there was a lot of, we don't need lube, or all the blokes. It was very much the men saying, we don't need lube. What I have noticed recently, and I don't know if it is because of things like OnlyFans or Bonnie Blue, is that actually the world we're trying to change and put into a positive light, I feel like there are steps back now because of things like that. Do you think it has affected, not your business, but it's just changed a lot of the way that people may view Killing Kittens and what you do?
I think it's sort of, I think we're kind of running in two parallel universes
Yeah.
in the Western world with, with the that trad wife and the Bonnie Blue and,
Polar
the Andrew
opposite.
Tates and it's sort of, and then you've got the kind of this train that, I'm on and you're on, that is that female empowerment and gender equality across it all, and the confidence gap and actually being equal and letting everyone be human and in their own little niches and doing whatever they want and without judgment and it's our choices, and so that we run on that, and then you have got the kind of Bonnie Blue chain which runs with the kind of the online porn and what it's doing to teenage boys and,
oh my God, and
men in general
and knocking women's confidence.
Yeah.
I think also the other thing as well, which I've picked up on, or we get messages a lot, is from women saying that they don't feel sexually confident because of the porn industry. Women look a certain way, and I think guys don't appreciate, majority of women actually don't look like that. And especially young boys, when the first thing they watch is porn, probably when their first wank is probably watching porn. It's not going to be
the
where they go.
perfect- yeah.
But
With a
no one has
perfect
vaginas
vagina.
like that.
No
one has
vagina
tits
there.
like that.
And we don't make those noises.
No, we
don't
don't.
make those
The noise is
noises.
out of control. And even in like movies, like when people have sex up against the door, like
It's all
I've
beautified.
never. I nearly got splinters in my ass. It doesn't happen that way. There was
good luck.
nothing
I'm
elegant
6 foot.
about
Good luck with a man trying to get me up on a door.
Yeah,
like
try
that.
having sex in a shower as if you're going to have sex in a bath or a freaking swimming pool.
No,
even a
it's
car.
never worked.
Honestly, they've got to stop making it unrealistic.
And also, all these women orgasm with that in about 20 seconds, and most women don't
Orgasm from penetrative sex,
exactly.
because that's another massive misconception. I think that's where there's not a lack of education, but I don't think younger girls, I feel for late teens who are sort of first getting into their like sexual experiences and stuff, what they are going off is something that's like a complete false reality of how it really
sex ed
is.
so backwards.
Sex ed is, we speak about this all the time, because I mean, my sex ed was putting a condom on a banana in a box.
They still do that.
But I
That-
can't
I didn't
believe
either.
They
that.
still do it. And
I didn't get any.
Oh, you did in your
I just
later
had
years.
to learn for myself as I went along.
But even that in itself, I remember like having a conversation talking about sort of female masturbation. That was so different. Boys could easily talk about, oh, they had a wank here and there. For girls, suddenly said, yeah, well, I had a wank. There's something so different about it.
And they learn about wet dreams. It's like about my 11-year-old last year, he learned about wet dreams in year 5 when he was like 9, 10. That was part of, and you just go that, they're teaching that that's totally normal and allowed and whatever. But
If a girl
even
touches
as teen, even when you get to teenage sex ed, they're still not really getting into female pleasure. And
It's what they're exposed to. That's my fear of how
Yeah.
easy. I know they've changed the porn age and how you
Well,
get access to.
I got done for that because they went fucking wild. I did an ad for Ofcom, and it was basically saying that kids under the age of 18 had to show their ID so that they could get into it, which I think is completely fair enough.
Yeah.
I got trolled so badly by these middle-aged men saying, you fucking ruined my... And I was like, hang on, you're a middle-aged man, obviously put your ID up, you'll be fine. It was weird, actually. But it is just crazy that that's not even a thing. Like, I do think it's slightly... it's not slightly, deeply concerning, the access that young people have to certain things. Like, I'm so relieved that we didn't have any of that.
yeah, and that's probably affecting more like middle-aged, men.
Yeah.
Because the teens and, are so tech savvy that they will be getting that free porn off.
Well, no, Billie
And
Eilish
it's
said a
wild.
whole thing. She said it ruined her because she said she started watching porn at the age of 13, and she said it completely fucked
and the
her.
expectations of what you think you have to do for a man, rather than like, again, knowing what you want, how you ask for it. And again, like the consensual is now a massive thing. Like I worry as having a young boy, I don't know if you do now,
Oh, my
of
brother,
like
my mum was terrified with my brother.
how they do, how that now can play out, and it's this whole thing of now you have to go, can I kiss you? Can I touch you?
And if a girl's drunk.
Yeah. And girls are bitches, and like teenage girls are the worst, So, and they know every trick. And I've heard so many awful stories about, just to be troublemakers, and they lie.
Yeah.
They've lied about male teachers, they've lied about
I know,
boys,
it's
and
really
it's just
bad.
sort of, and then it's on social media, and it just, it's awful.
It's scary.
Moving on to a slightly lighter note, / advice note, what would you say your biggest confidence booster for anyone who's struggling at the moment, feeling confidence in themselves, not necessarily just in the bedroom, but generally, what would your advice be to someone like that?
I don't know. I mean, I always say, for any woman, it's you have to be selfish and be unapologetically selfish, and selfish is another bit like sex. Is another word that we've grown up to not be. That the messaging in our bones on that word is that it's bad and it's bad to be selfish. But to me, it's like you've got to find yourself and you've got to realize what you want and what makes you tick, and that's in all life. So I'm like, go out and try hobbies and get friends, and because so many people just want a man and everything goes into finding a boyfriend, and I'm like, no, just just be completely selfish, do what you want, and a man will come, or a partner by default, and it's sort of, and that goes goes into the bedroom. It's like if you can own your space and
because also, how do women figure out, like, what would you recommend to a woman who doesn't feel fully satisfied sexually by what she's getting? How do you move forward from that? / how do you have that conversation with a partner?
It's sort of, but again, it comes down to communication, because I hear so many girlfriends go, oh, I'm not, awful in bed, and I'm like, well, have you actually spoken? It's sort of, that's the other thing, to ask or suggest things, and you can do it nice, and you can like bringing toys in to the mix.
But even like cards, like those cards where you can have like a play card and it suggests different things to do.
Because I think the other thing as well that I have sort of noticed with different things that I've seen is that guys get very they think that by using something like a sex toy, it's replacing them.
The amount of stories I hear about that, they feel threatened by a dildo, and you're like,
but hang on, that thing doesn't have a heartbeat.
No,
like it's got a pulse, but it's not,
it's not growing. It is what it is.
It's not instead of.
And I think I would love guys to understand it more, that actually, like, say, okay, so I don't orgasm from penetrative sex. I don't. Clitoral stimulation, sure.
Yeah,
so the combination, that works.
Adding something extra isn't it? Not replacing.
And also, if they feel threatened, then they obviously haven't really found the clitoris, because most sex toys are used actually for the female pleasure bit, which is that.
Hence why our vibrator is purely for the clitoris stimulation. So although it is big and it could look threatening,
it's big. It is large.
It one of those suction ones? Have you seen those suction ones? Oh my god!
No, that doesn't work.
If someone's like,
but this one's like
tried one of them. It's like a second. I'm like, no, that's just too quick.
This is like the big ball, so it's like hitting all the nerve endings on the clitoris, and you can use that together, and it's quite fun. So they've got to get over the fact that they're going to be replaced. They're not. It's adding something extra for everyone's joy.
If you're single, when people break up with, or they're miserable, or they're working out what to do, or that lack of confidence, I always say, get a sex toy. You should. If you masturbate every day,
well, the health benefits of it. The health benefits. It helps with anxiety or sleep. There's a range of actual healthy things that go with it.
And it does give you more confidence, because the endorphins that get released, and you go out into the world wanting to own the world, and in a better headspace and not masturbating.
Think about the time you spend doom scrolling. You just give yourself a little.
Just have a wank.
Yeah, just have a wank.
It does actually help me sleep sometimes.
That's the best way to go to sleep, isn't it?
Oh yeah, honestly, if I've been awake and I can't sleep, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Women going through menopause, how has your sex drive / sexuality, whatever it is, how have you noticed that has changed? Or actually, let's talk post childbirth. Post childbirth, did you notice a massive difference in your sex drives, and also what you sort of wanted and needed?
Sex drive, because you've still got the hormones in you for 2 years. So the maternal hormones of looking after this little tiny thing. The healing, the trauma, the knackeredness.
The healing. There's nothing sexy about leaky tits. Either a C-section or vaginal birth, whatever.
I had a vagina, so I lost count of the stitches. It was like...
And there is nothing. You're exhausted, and sometimes you're like, I'm feeding a child, I'm feeding you, not from my boobs, but looking after you at the same time. I'm also probably still working. The last thing I want to do is have anyone else need something from my body.
Do you think you felt severe self-conscious?
Yeah, you do.
In a way that you've never...
You do, because you can lose the weight, but it's sort of flabby. It's like loose. It can come in, but it's that cream. Yeah, so you do.
And the water retention.
Yeah.
Still got it 2.5 years later.
No, you do not. You look great. You both do.
lying with the legs up against the wall in the morning like you do, and he's probably thinking, oh yeah.
Here we
I'm
go.
thinking, no, I'm draining.
Have they ever made comments though, or do you think women get very much in their heads, or do you think some women feel a certain way because of one small comment that a man has made?
I think you can. I don't think the men will. Like if you said to James, I don't think he'd notice much. Like they don't notice the stuff we think they notice.
Yeah.
You know, they don't make the comments. I think it's just in our heads because we have gone. You know, mum mode is not sexy mode.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, and that with the hormones as well. And again, you have to make the effort to go out and to keep that
Get
romance alive.
the romance.
Have a shower. You know, sometimes it is the basics.
Yes, wash my hair.
Yeah. And I tell you, when you do make time for each other, it's actually reminding yourself as well that you are still a couple and there is that romantic bond. Like we did everything backwards in our relationship, had the baby first, got pregnant 3 months, whatever, and then recently got married and had our honeymoon. And actually having that honeymoon, whatever it is, or the holiday away, or like even just a night together, away from everything in a separate place that isn't your house and your home where you're looking around thinking, shit, I've got to do that, or the washing's over there, or the child, you know, our child didn't sleep for 2.5 years. Is that actually you're like, oh yeah, I'm still fucking horny and I really fancy you. It's like you have to make that time and effort.
For you time, it's that selfish thing. You know, you can lose yourself completely. But, you know, but I had that in my head, having seen loads of, went late. I think it was 36, 38, 40 when I had my 3. I'd seen so many girlfriends lose themselves and lose their identity. And I thought, but I couldn't judge because I thought I haven't been in their position. So like I remember my husband saying, you were on such a mission to not prove them wrong, but to go, no, you can still have a life. You can still go away for weekends. You can still go out with your friends.
Do you get a lot of your friends asking you that? Like, how can they bring it back to them again and like actually being who they are, not just as like the mum at home kind of thing?
Yeah, loads of people. And it's, you know, one of my favourite expressions is that, you know, remember who you were before the world told you who you should be. And I think as women, we just lose it. You lose yourselves in life and that expectation that we look after everyone and we're the caregivers.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I think women do sacrifice a hell of a lot more than you know that you do. Almost like I think
whether you're a mum or not, I think, and I think losing yourself. It's just, you know, sadly, and men go through it as well. Like the hormone change, they just change in a different way, but they still transition and go through the change of some kind.
Well, yeah, because now I was going to talk about the menopause. Like, what does that do to one's sex drive? Obviously, it varies dependent on the person.
Yeah, I think, and you know, you see it everywhere now. Or maybe that's just my AI on my phone.
No, my AI telling me
the
algorithm.
Perimenopause everywhere, but there's so much more awareness now, and that I kind of equate it to like perimenopause is like labour.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you don't really know to talk about the labour bit. You talk about the active birth, which can be like a minute. And, you know, whereas labour can be 48 hours. And, you know, perimenopause is a decade. And people don't realise that. They just, you know, I didn't realise it. I was menopause. That's the year you stop having your period. But perimenopause is like hell on earth. It is, you can, you know, wake up so paranoid. And like my memory went, I'd, you know, be driving along and have to stop and go, where am I going? What am I doing? Walk into the supermarket and come out with everything. And I'd be like, well, I went in for milk. I've come out, you know, I was forgetting I was forgetting lunches and meetings. I thought, this is just not me. And also the paranoia, this like, it wasn't just anxiety. It was the dark thoughts of people were out to get me, people were out to steal the business. So it was like, you know, this was like 4 years ago. And I had to slap myself out of it. And I was aware.
How did you slap yourself out of it, though?
Because I was aware that I was in perimenopause, because I thought, well, mum and my grandmother got it, you know, went through actual menopause at 52. I was like 43. This is hormonal. So I went and demanded HRT, and they were like, no, obviously did the offering. Have some antidepressants because that's, you know, going to cure everything.
That's what everyone offers you.
And I was like, no, and literally kept going. And went, you have to give me HRT. You kind of have to.
And do they?
Some doctors don't, but they kind of have to if you're the right age. Yeah. And some doctors, you know, a lot of doctors are beginning to understand perimenopause.
Do you think we're beginning to understand what it is when you first get it? Or do you think women just get a bit confused? Because
definitely confusion.
Yeah,
it's confusion, and that's the biggest like demographic given, you know, who are given antidepressants are women in their early mid-40s. That's the biggest kind of group who are on antidepressants, and you go, they don't need antidepressants. They need HRT, you know, the hormones. And it's not a case of estrogen sort of dropping. It's up and down like that. It spikes the whole time. So you can get, you know, the libido goes through the roof for some people.
Yeah, they say there's like two ends of the
waiting
spectrum.
for that. I'm literally like, come on.
Either you're dead from the waist down or you're a fucking beast that needs to be fed. You know?
Or you're like just, you know, it's sort of absolute dead and emotions. But I tell you what, like going on HRT was like overnight game changer.
Really?
And also
Absolute game
the
changer.
Marina coil. So
Yeah, because what you taught you.
I have the Marina coil, and apparently that also, because it's releasing hormones into you, is changing, and it helps in a different way. But also the problem is that we're all individuals, aren't we? So everyone has different symptoms. So there's no right or wrong. And also whatever the symptoms are, they're easily confused with other things. So definitely, like, if you're wondering first and they offer you the antidepressants, I would get the hormones checked.
If you're sort of mid coming into mid-40s, the chances are you will be perimenopausal.
Not depression.
And and the anxiety and, you know, brain fog and, you know, everything like that.
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion.
We don't have it easy, do we, really?
No.
Get your ass on a Killing Kittens cruise. That will sort you right out, won't it?
Exactly.
It actually would.
A sex toy or a Killing Kittens cruise, and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Have an orgasm.
I've
An orgasm
never
a
been on
day.
a cruise and I'm flying in there perimenopausal. And I mean, for 6 nights, what could possibly go wrong?
No escaping. That's it.
I
You're
can't
in
get
it.
off the boat.
Actually, yeah, no, because we were just talking, but I wonder if there is like a sort of, not a group just for like certain sort of, not rather than age brackets, stage brackets. So like perimenopausal women. Do you do workshops for that kind of?
We do. What we have got is on the online side is big chat groups. So there's some that are for like 40 plus women only groups and stuff. So we have that, but we don't. Yeah, the perimenopausal thing, because actually what we find is we have a big influx of what we call midlife women joining as members, and that's either as couples or, you know, women leaving. You know, again, the average age of divorce is 46 for women, so it's the same. The average age of women starting their own businesses are late 40s, early 50s. They're basically, you know, it's when estrogen is stripped and we stop giving a fuck. It's a thing. That estrogen is our caring, or, you know, where we look after everyone, but the minute it kind of comes down, it's like suddenly we're like, give a fuck about caring for anyone. It's like, you know, we want to do it on our terms and what we want. So people leave relationships, people leave jobs. You know, it's sort of, it all makes sense when it's like and where before we used to be put on the shelf and that was it.
Now it's like a second lease of life.
It was exactly, actually.
Rebirth.
We can be single, we're financially independent, we can launch a business. And we've got pretty much half our life left.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, because I think there was lots of doom and gloom when people would get menopause. And I don't know if that is not because of lack of education, but I think there just was never, I don't know, social media puts a negative spin on a lot of things. And like so me at the moment, I don't know why the fuck my algorithm is showing me people having traumatic births. And to be honest with you,
That is a random algorithm.
I'm not even talking about babies. It's because, and also weddings and babies, two things I just don't want right now. Like actually far from it. Every time I go on my Instagram, oh, here's another C-section. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Why?
Because they're the people I'm around are talking about it all the time, whereas I'm not. But so it's
you need to change your friends.
I know I do. I need to change. I'm hanging. Great. After this, you'll be telling me all sorts. But it's just interesting that there's no. I don't know. I think there is an element of doom and gloom that goes around all this stuff, and especially menopause.
Which is the doom and gloom.
It
is. But actually, I'm having sort of a new sort of second life after
menopause. And it's
menopause.
fear, isn't it? Because it's, you know, again, in amount of friends, you know, they come out and relationships like, oh, we won't find anyone, we're too old, we're, you know,
that needs. Can I say
that just does
that has to stop now because
stop.
I think it's really sad, and I speak to a lot of people ages from 40 to 60 who are too scared, and it is more so women than it is men because they think it's worse to be a single woman at that age than it is to a man, and a man's more likely to find someone. I think it's complete fucking bollocks. I think if you're not happy at this point now, only you can change that. You've got to get out.
As I said, that you've got one life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also a hell of a lot of life left. Like, listen, if you're 90, just you calm it down, get a vibration, go to a nursing home. But I shouldn't say that actually. But when you're like, you know, I don't know. I think
just don't settle. Like the one life. Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have those villages, to have, you know, not have it all your whole life on your partner. Because then you can, if you do split, you've got your friends.
Yeah.
You've got, you can kind of carry on doing your hobbies and your things and your trips.
Some sort of
Do you
independence.
offer any workshops for men?
Oh,
we
good
do
question.
some. No, we do some. So we do.
Finding the clit.
That could be a good one. We do like kind of pussy power like massage thing, and we do like penis massage and vulva massage. So again, that is
for men.
Yeah, well, we're all for couple, for men and women, but it is all about how to what
stimulate,
and so we do a complete mixture. We do like confidence ones. So and we've done some for men on like the art of approaching and how to behave like that.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say another thing I keep seeing on, you can tell I doom scroll a lot, is men are shy than we think they are in terms of approaching a woman. And like, yeah, they are. But is it because we've become quite, not bullish, but they can see that we're more, a lot of women have, I think, actually gained confidence, not just in the bedroom, but just
I think
generally.
also there's that, men want to feel wanted.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's that we don't need them. And that, that's sort of like, my hubby often says, so Emma doesn't need me. She wants to be with me. And because I'm like, I said that right at the beginning. I'm like, and that can scare you men. But it's the truth. It's like, I don't need to be with a man. I want to be with him while I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I think, whereas, it's always been sort of, we need a man. And financially we need a man. And it's like, my parents' generation, it's sort of a lot of women stay with a man because they're not earning and they were like, we have no other choice.
Yeah.
Hunter-gatherers.
And we don't need that now. I think what came with financial independence is that we can leave, and then that came with the whole sexual freedom of actually we've got the financial independence now. We can actually decide what we want in the bedroom as well and go and try.
So going back, there's a question there that you were saying, do you give classes for men? So here's the thing, like if you then break it down, we always complain about, that they maybe don't find the right spot, or, they're not giving us necessarily what we want. Is it then we need educating for how to ask for it, or do the men need educating in a different way? Who needs the education?
I think it's being able to say it in a way that isn't not condescending, because I think actually men are very sensitive in the bedroom too, and I think, and I've noticed that, like, I've had relationships where I've sort of been not in the mood, but it's very much my own thing. It's nothing to do with them. They've done nothing wrong, but it's an instant thing to automatically assume it's you, not the other person. So I don't know. I think it's the way you word it, but I think, communication.
Yeah, I think it's both, because I also think we've got to remember that, and we've just spoken about sex education.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't know. They haven't been taught. They might
Do
have
they
watched.
want to know?
A lot of them do.
I think they do.
I think they do. And that's it. And you can't, again, it's that you can't expectations. You can't assume they know that, he's not doing that. Well, if he doesn't know to do that, if he's never been taught to do that, if he doesn't have a clue about
faking the orgasm.
If he doesn't know, exactly. If he doesn't know.
Worst thing, right?
Yeah. If he doesn't know that, you don't come through penetrative sex, how's he going to...
Actually, that's a quick warning. Any girls out there, don't keep faking it, because you're fucking them up as well as the rest of us.
Yeah.
Because actually, it's true. You made them think they're doing a good job.
You're carrying on the myth that we come through,
Or being overzealous for certain things. You're training them the wrong way.
Yeah.
At least if you're not going to keep them, train them up and let someone else have the goods.
Exactly, and it's not a doorbell.
No. The fingering technique.
It's like, that saying of, grow some balls is the one I've never understood, right? Because the balls are so, like, delicate, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
As you think about what the vagina takes, it pushes a baby out, it takes a pounding. So why don't people say, like, just grow a vagina?
Okay, what do we think from all of our individual experience / what we've seen? What do we think it is that's one common theme that women seem to want?
Foreplay.
Yeah,
I think foreplay.
Foreplay. But you know what? It goes back to the brain again, doesn't it? I think, in a simple way, if we feel listened to and seen and respected, then we're going to be nymphomaniacs in the bedroom. Yeah. That's it.
Yes.
How you do that,
the foreplay,
and make a women feel that,
heard.
then they'll
That's so true.
heard
Actually,
and
feeling
seen.
heard makes the world a difference.
Yeah.
Which is it kind of like then how you define the foreplay. Like even just having a discussion of like, how was your day, babe? Let me do something for you, or let's have a chat. Oh no, I understand what you're saying. A bit of empathy
mental
from a man,
stimulation.
and it's
And
the
just
emotional
ask,
drive.
what do you like?
Yeah.
It's sort of it's not an awkward conversation.
Yeah. And also I think it's not one size fits all kind of thing.
Definitely doesn't.
I feel Valentine's Day has got out of control. There didn't used to be this much pressure on it. What would your one tip be for couples mainly to spice it up? What would be one new thing to add or try, if anything?
God, I go simple. You know, it's sort of
No, but that's sometimes the better thing.
I think keep it simple, and like we just said that being seen and heard, and just I don't like going out to dinner on Valentine's Day.
No.
Awkward. So if we go out, we'll go out the day before or the day after, or so there's nothing more awkward than sitting in a restaurant with loads of couples.
Yeah. And then that feels pressure. My big thing is having a night
double the
without your
price.
phones.
With a set menu that's double the price.
Yeah,
I do like flowers though.
Flowers I like,
old
but
school.
I like the no phones.
So if you were going to strip it back and you were going to go simple, like what I've also realised is being in our industries is probably how vanilla I actually am.
No, same.
But also I quite like that.
I think most people are. That's the thing. It's that expectations, and most of us speak to go, actually, are we really boring? Or like,
but it kind of works for us because
But I
I feel
think
like you're still enjoying each other and like building that connection. So then if you were going to give one top tip of simplifying something in the bedroom, what would that be? Difficult one there, sorry.
I think, female pleasure, isn't it? I would say just sort of go big on that side, and like that kind of bear in mind the brain. It's sort of, when you're blindfolded or you're, and it's just sort of just explore the body.
Yeah.
So actually do everything except the sex bit.
Fun.
And just have some fun and explore the entire body, because I think I can't remember how many it is, different orgasms that we can have, and there's loads of different
where
places
are
on us.
all these places, by the way? Because I've only found one.
And there's loads of
No,
them.
mine's actually my neck. That's like my
Erogenous zone.
yeah.
It's one of them. There's loads of places, so I think you can have some fun. Yeah,
Exploring
that kind of.
And if you were single, what would be a top
I
tip
think if
for...
you're single, you really figure out what it is that you actually want and enjoy. Even by yourself, like as in by yourself, like I think you have.
Yeah, get some toys and
Get some toys.
explore, and do you know what? It's not how many how many of you actually got put a mirror and looked at.
No, I'll be honest,
I've never done
I
that.
have not. I think I'm too scared to.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I wouldn't want to now post kids, but I think I did it in my 20s.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that would actually make me feel insecure looking at myself now. Thinking, if I can't look at it, why is he going to want to eat it?
But I don't think guys think the way girls do,
No.
because actually the amount of times I remember I'd gone for a wax or something with someone, and I remember the girl going, "Have I got a weird vagina?" And the waxer going, "I'll be honest, I'm looking at the hair growth. I'm not even looking at your vagina." But I think it's the same with men. Don't look specifically. I don't know. To them, it's one thing.
That's the thing. You're turned on by the energy, and it's same with us with a guy. It's if they don't have a six pack and they've got they're not a massive willy and. They haven't trimmed. It's like, do we really see that in the bedroom when we're turned on and we get good energy?
You don't think about it all.
You don't even.
Mental.
Yeah.
I think I'm very much not about the physical at all. I think it's so much more the emotional
connection.
Yeah.
I think I was traumatized by. I lived with 5 guys at uni, and they were all like rugby guys, and they. Would say they did the alpha when they went down on a woman. They'd do the alphabet, and I think it took me years to get over that one, because every time I was like, "Oh fuck, is he doing the alphabet?" And like, I've got to, you've got to come by the time he gets to F, otherwise you're gonna, it's sort of that.
Otherwise, what happens when he gets to Z? Does he start again?
It took me years. Yeah.
Numbers. And so on the Valentine's Day, we, Jomo, are doing a date night delivered box, which has got all sorts of bits and pieces, different tricks and treats.
But limited edition.
But limited edition, so there's only a few of them. But it's a mix of lube, there's some sort of candles, some games.
It touches on what you were saying about setting the mood. So everything in there to help set the mood.
For our Valentine, we're running like a 3-night retreat. So we're doing a big Valentine's retreat with like 2 big KK parties on the Friday and Saturday. So that's over Valentine's weekend.
And so for someone, so you have to be a member to go to any of this. So anyone who wants to try, you must sign up to Killing Kittens.
Sign up to Killing Kittens, and then basically it's a whole weekend, and you can come to the party on the Friday night, you can come to the party on the Saturday night, or you can come and do the whole 3-day retreat, which has a whole load of workshops plus gets the parties in the mix. as well. How brave you're feeling.
I think we'll
I'm so impressed by everything that you've done.
I think it's really hard. It's so interesting because there is such a positive. I mean, it is such a positive thing, but I think it's when one says sex party, the connotations are instantly negative when actually it's not.
I hate it. It's like the whole sex party thing. It just, when my stomach just.
Yeah.
I think when you see the bigger picture and you see all the nuances and actually what it is.
But the fact there are workshops, it's actually educational.
Wine
I think everyone needs
tasting.
to just open their what?
Wine tasting.
Wine tasting, yeah.
It's well posh.
And we will be at the next one. That's all for this week. And if you have any thoughts or questions or even KK confessions, please DM us at Private Podcast. And if you're watching on our glorious YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. We want to hear from you. And thank you to Bella and the glorious Emma. Woo!